Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Strategic Veteran. I'm your host, Adam Peters. And 18 years in the Air Force intelligence will show you a lot about the world and even more about yourself, or how easy it is to lose touch with who you are beneath the uniform. For Rex Enriquez, the turning point wasn't the explosive moment, but the slow, heavy realization that life after service meant rebuilding from the ground up. Getting medically retired forced him to step outside the mission, strip away the old structure, and really face what came next. Now Rex is using that hard-earned self-knowledge not just for his own path, but to coach others through their own transitions. He's built a new mission around helping people dig beneath the surface, ask the tough questions about value and purpose, and get honest about the work it takes to move forward. This one's for you if you haven't ever stared into the unknown and wondered what comes after service, or if you've lost track of your own voice in the noise. So let's get into it. Rex, brother, it's really exciting to have you here because in 130 of these things, you and I probably have kind of the closest views on the transition out of the military that anybody else I've ever had on this show. So I'm really excited to dive into this with you, brother. Thanks for being here.
Dude, the honor is all mine. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate you as well, what you're doing for our veteran community and for yourself, dude. Growth happens
That's
in
it.
all directions, man, and you are just killing it. So I appreciate what you're doing for them as well.
Yeah, brother. First question for everybody, man. Where did you grow up and why did you join the Air Force?
Oh. What? So let's see. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, right? Boom, Longhorns, hoorah. I live in Austin now, but I joined when I was oh man, I was 22 years old. And wait, what was the fucking question? Oh,
Where did you grow up and what inspired
oh
you to
yeah,
join the Air Force?
San Antonio. Okay, so inspiration. A little bit of that inspiration was my father. My dad was in the Air Force, and my grandfather was in the Army. He was a POW, and that my life was kind of going in a direction that wasn't growth for myself. It wasn't growth for anything economically. I was just kind of stagnant. I didn't know
Existing.
who I was. I didn't know any of my values, my beliefs. I just kind of whatever was adopted from right from my family or from friends and that kind of stuff. I was in that age. I was like 21, 22 years old. And I was inspired by an Air Force billboard, right? I saw it and I had a negative, somewhat there. We'll just say there is some negative past towards my family and the military, and that's as far as I'll take that. But I had that in the back of my mind, so there was never any question that I was going to get into the military because of some things that have happened in the past with my family. So that wasn't an option, man. But I felt that there was some pull, some draw, and into the military. I wasn't doing so great, like for my own life, and I saw a billboard, and at that moment, I was like, I felt this need, right? This kind of need to change. Like inside of me, there was like this, like you know how we stay open to opportunities. We have to keep your life open. You always have to keep your doors open to, an opportunity that could lead to a different opportunity or lead to something else. So I was kind of living in that moment. And at that moment, I called up my dad and I was like, hey, what would you think? What do you think about this, this opportunity? I may want to get in the Air Force. And he was like, well, like, go for it, son. Like, kill it. Go for it. And so I did. I got in and I served. And man, it was such a wild ride. That's a
Right.
long answer, man. Long answer, but
Oh no, it's good. It's good. It's good because the billboard, right? Like, so did you ever look at another branch at all, or was it just the influence of your father?
yeah,
I'm sure the experience of your grandfather, whether he talked about it or not, being a POW in the Army, probably kind of influenced your decision a little bit. Like, probably don't want to go to the Army. Like, my grandfather did that. He ended up this way. My dad did the Air Force thing. Look,
yeah,
I'm a huge advocate now. My sister just got out of the Air Force last year as a major. She kind of followed in my footsteps. She's 5 years younger than I am, but her whole career, she was always like, I don't know how you do what you do in the Army as an infantryman. In Hawaii, she got attached to, the infantry guys and would have to go out in the field, and she was just completely miserable. And so, like, I got to see the parallels in our career and how the Air Force is just way better. It's just way better.
I don't have much to compare it to because I was only in one branch, but we we didn't have look, it depends on how you see it, right? If
It's
you
big boy rules for you guys versus they treat us like children in the Army. I remember being medevac through Ramstein, and I remember one of the Air Force guys that was hurt was like, I haven't done a formation in 13 years. Why am I doing 3 formations a day here at Ramstein? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? This is like literally my whole life. Like, we do this 4 or 5 times a day in the rear. Like,
yeah, I mean, comparatively, when you look at it like that, the Air Force was easier. If I got to compare them to the other branches, easier in that the physical aspect, the somewhat like they treat you like that in the Army. They didn't, or in the Marines, they didn't treat us like that in the Air Force. I mean, early in my career, you're kind of getting a little bit of that pushback because you haven't been fully brainwashed yet. It's just more about like trying to get standardized and stay in line. It's that whole social experiment, right? What is that guy next to me doing? Okay, I got to do that because I got to fit in. That's what we do in militaries. You got to be standard. You got to fit in with everyone else. They don't like people to stand out or think freely. It's not what the military is for. But
right.
yeah, it was. I mean, looking back, I would say it was compared to like civilian life, civilian stuff. It was it was easier in that aspect that no one's telling you what to do now. It's all on you versus in the
Yeah.
military. That's like, tell me what to do, boss, and that's it. That's your day. You're just following orders. And if you want that easy life, then go for it.
Dude, so 18 years in intelligence. Why intelligence? Was that what you wanted? You wanted intelligence? Was it the thought that when you got out, you could use that as a career, or is that just kind of what came your way and you're like, let me try this?
So that's another great story of mine. So I started out as a medic. So my first like 9 years in the Air Force, I was a medic, and I was deployed in Iraq as a medic, and I had seen like the nastiness of all types of life as a medic, and I was like, dude, this can't be my career.
At some point, there's probably a realization that like this shit's gonna fuck me up, right? Like, I
Right,
mean,
right. There was already some
probably,
real fuckery
yeah,
that going on right up here after like being deployed and seeing our brothers and sisters blown the fuck up, and then you're like doing a lot of questioning, like, why are we here?
yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
what are we doing here? What the fuck? What's happening? Why? What are you? Is no one seeing this? And yeah, of course, nobody really sees that part of the
Well,
war.
particularly, I don't know. I mean, I was in from '03 to 15, so I was in Iraq the first 3 times. So OIF 3, OIF 6, 7. I don't even know what they call them anymore, but I, I always had that. It wasn't the atrocities I was committing, the killing I was doing, but it was seeing our brothers and sisters picking up their body parts, putting them in a dump pouch to take back. Like, that fucked with me so hard. I didn't realize it till years later, right? But I get why you were like, this can't be my career, because I couldn't imagine being a medic. And I was just an infantry guy, doing triage, right? I wasn't like a medic, like doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I used to we used to get infantry guys that would come in and they'd be like, dude, like fuck your job. Like I wouldn't do
Yeah.
that. And I was like, really? I'm like, I mean, I know I hate it, but I could have sworn that your job was way worse. And they're like, no, man, because they would sometimes come in and check up on their brothers, man. They're like, hey, man, how's Tommy doing, whatever. And I'm like, okay, let's go check him out. He's all fucked up, obs. But it was like this is like not going to be for me. I mean, it's for some people, but I was like, this is not for me, man. I've always kind of been just like, I've always had inspiration, imagination. I've always kind of lived on kind of in the middle between left and right, So I've just been. I'm like, this can't be it. So I kind of went and asked my commander. I was like, yo, I kind of want to retrain, man. He was like, whatever you want to do, man, let's do it. So I liked the intelligence part side of the military. I was like, I think I can do this. So he let me do it. cross-trained, and then I did Intel for the last the second half of my career.
What was that transition like? Because I had an opportunity when I was being med boarded to reclass as well, and I didn't take it because, as a senior non-commissioned officer who at that point had 13 years as an infantryman, unparalleled combat experience, if you will, I looked at it like, how can I be an effective senior non-commissioned officer in a different job where I'm supposed to be the subject matter expert and leads younger soldiers to be the best version of themselves that they can be in
Hmm.
this MOS? How did that transition go for you? What rank were you when you made the switch? And was there, kind of some pitfalls that you maybe fell into or narrowly escaped when you made that transition?
So that's an important question to ask yourself when you get in the military. When you get in, if you're older than what usually people get in, you're not going to have the same experience as everyone else. Okay, because you're older, and younger people know you're older. So
Yeah.
we usually, as humans, we want to associate ourselves with people that are along the same age because we have things in common. We connect on that same, age level. So, I mean, we will have people, friends of all ages, but we know when we see our people that are our age, like you and I right now, right?
Yeah. That's it.
So,
Yeah.
like we know that we're around the same age. So that's how it was when I got in. It was difficult because I was too young to hang out with the new kids, and I was too old to hang out with the young kids, and I was too young to hang out with the
The
NCOs.
old kid. Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like right here, I'm a fucking floater, dude. So that was kind of a difficult transition for me to figure out just the age thing. So then I take that, and then now I'm moving from medic to intelligence. It was quite the journey to figure out where I fit in. How could I fit in? Because one, intelligence, you have to have a fucking high score just to get into Intel.
Mhm.
I passed by 1 point. Okay.
So you just made the cut.
So I was the dumbest smartass, right? I was like king of the fucking, of the geniuses over here. And I'm like, but because I retrained, I was higher ranking than all those smart kids. Okay. So the transition and what I had to find out, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be smarter than you fuckers, right? These are like fly on the wall type kids, and they're just kind of like all brainiacs, and which is great, right? We need that for Intel. We need people to think, you know, critically and hard and analyze, courses of actions and strategy and all that stuff. But they don't know much about management or leadership. And I thought to myself, I have a lot of experience now. So far, I've been in almost, 10 years. So I'm going to use that. So because I was also in those positions, in that position of being an NCO, they put me over those other airmen. So I wasn't trying to like be smarter than them, but that's when I really was able to stretch my leadership muscles to be able to inspire and motivate my airmen to be able to, be their best, and to make it up the ranks so they could, lead themselves. And that's where I fit in most.
Leaning into those other skills that you had developed to probably even make you better as an intel guy, right? Like, so
Yeah,
you built rapport with them by bringing the leadership stuff to the table that they may not have had, and then you were able to learn from them because they were the smarter people, right? Like that.
right, right.
It's like that cohesion. That's awesome, man. So at 18 years, 2 years away from retirement, it's med board time. You're getting medically retired at this point. What happened, and how are you feeling when this is going down? Because you're so close.
Yes, I was so close, and that's what she said, by the way. So I went, I was I just gotten out of my deployment in Afghanistan. I just came home, Afghanistan. I was going through a divorce, right? And I was about to lose my kid, right? Not just like lose my kid, but lose like they were gonna move like to a different state. So now I don't have a kid. I don't have a family anymore, and I'm dealing with a lot of that post PTSD stress from the deployment. And then my commander's like, oh, by the way, we're sending you back to Iraq in like 30 to 90 days. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not a fucking genius here, but that doesn't sound like a smart idea. You obviously don't know your people. You don't know what's going on with your people. I'm seeing like a psychiatrist right now. I'm seeing a medical thing for this and that, and I'm going through a divorce. I'm fucking I'm at my limit. I've never been at that limit in my life any before, or have been since, because I know how to manage my life now in that aspect. But that is, I believe, I I'm going to say something pretty, maybe controversial, maybe not. I don't know, but this is just how I feel. Uh, I obviously I don't condone suicide, and I don't like believe in it. But at that one point in my life, I could empathize for people that do that. I can see why someone would do that. That was the point in my life with revelation where I said, you know what? I can no longer look at people, because I used to have, like, obviously I'm a Christian, right? I grew up Catholic, and it was like a big no, no suicide, and let you go to hell and all
Mhm.
that bullshit. And I'm like, now everything has changed for me. But at that time, I was like, that was a big no. There's no way that I would ever do that. But at that moment in my life, I thought, I get it, brother. Like, I
Yeah.
get it now. And it was a real serious moment for me. So that transition I was going through a lot of negative change in my life, and uh, some things had also transpired. Um, I don't know if I want to release that information.
That's
We'll just
that's
say
fair.
there was some administrative issues as well with me and my behavior. So, you know, you got lashed out. People lash out when they were going through some, fucking issues in their head, and you don't want to take care of your people. You're just like, fuck you, you're sending you back. I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? You sure you
Yeah,
want to do
right.
that? So then they
Yeah.
kind of threw me through that process, right? They were like, okay, um, we're going to move you to a different location where you're going to work at a different job. You're going to, um, lose your clearance. You're going to lose a lot of shit, a lot of privileges. And then we're going to put you basically working over here until we can figure all this shit out. So I worked at a different location for like a fucking year, and my commander, she was like trying to fucking get me kicked out of the military, and trying to get me demoted. And the med board was like, no, dog, you got a guy here who's fucking hurt, dude. He is
Right.
hurt. He is going through fucking pain. He's going through injuries, visible and invisible, and you're just trying to just throw that shit out. Like, are you fucking stupid? So they were like, look, she don't want you. We're gonna fucking medically retire you. How about that? And I was like, let's rock and roll, dude. Let's fucking do it. I'm done here anyway. I did my time. Y'all don't want me, so let's go. So yeah.
It's so common, man. Your story, my story. You become this pariah when you're hurt and you can no longer do the job, and
Mm-hmm.
then everybody is against you. I
Mm.
think we talked about this when I was on your show, and it's man, it's what I'm working to change. The leadership needs to understand. Look, the regulation says you have 365 days to fucking transition. Like, why are we not like active? We pay attention to every other fucking regulation that we have to a fucking T, but we want to ignore that one. And that's just for guys who are ETSing or retiring. That's not for guys like you and I who I went through the med board in 2015. Med board back then in the Army was taking up to 28 months. Just like zero help. I finding my piece in the bottom of a bottle because I get ostracized from my unit. I've got a bunch of kids that I mentor. They're begging me to come back because they're desperate for good leadership. But I have leadership that doesn't want anything to do with you because you're just a broke dick who can't do your job anymore and you're taking up a spot on my MTO. So you get ostracized to range control. You're separated from like the whole job you've been doing for, a decade plus. It's ridiculous, man. Like, why do we do this to ourselves?
That's a great question, man. Why? Why? I mean, I think maybe it's just an individual thing. Commanders, officers. I mean, I've had my fair share of even NCOs and senior NCOs that were just fucking dirtbags, and I've had to, which I rarely see. I rarely see people standing up for others, like you said, when they're in a bad way. nobody fucking sticks up for them, and they're just like, yo, I don't know that motherfucker. Just like Jesus, bro.
Just
It's the
turn
same
your back
fucking
on them.
fucking
Yeah, that's
story,
just,
dude.
it's
Same fucking
ridiculous.
story. Fucking cock crows 3 times. Everyone's like, I don't know that motherfucker. Are you serious? We fucking. I'm like, okay, fine. You're gonna play that card. It was the same card with me, man. They were like, oh no, like we don't know him. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know how much bullshit I fucking buried for your asses? Like, okay. But this is just how life is, man. They'll fucking find the scapegoat, the pariah, whatever, like you said, and they'll just like throw it away. I've had to put my life on the line for other airmen before because, they were going through a bad way, and the commanders took my word for it over theirs, gave them a second shot. I fucking rarely saw those opportunities, man. The senior NCOs that I knew, they were just like, got to protect my own shit because all I care about is my shit and the way I look, the way I am, my rank or my promotion or my this. Like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah,
Go
the
fuck
next
yourself.
promotion, the next golden goose assignment that you want
Yeah,
to protect because you're at the tail end of your career thinking that this isn't going to end and you're not going to be in the
yeah.
same position I'm in. Motherfucker, the joke's on you because you're going to have it worse than I have it. Let's move into, what did your transition out look like? So you med board, you get medically retired. Did you have a plan? Had you been preparing, or did you go through, and I think I know the answer to this because we've already had an at-length conversation, but for those that are listening, you know, I spent 8.5 years in what I call a transition hole, not knowing what the fuck I was doing, following the TAP plan or the ACAP plan from back then. Go to school, get the degree, find the career. You'll make 6 figures. You're a veteran. Everybody wants to hire you. That's the common narrative. That's priming, psychology term for those that are listening. That's setting you up for failure. It's setting you up to just be in the worst headspace where then you're going to take the first job that's going to suck the soul out of you and you're going to fucking be miserable. Like, what was your journey out of the Air Force? You get your DD-214, you get your retirement certificate. I don't know if you guys have a whole package. We got a little package with a flag and some other shit. And then you're just like, what now? What now? What? Like, what do I do now?
Well, I don't. I'm not sure. I don't think that my transition was very traditional in the fact that I didn't get a fucking ceremony, right? None of my fucking people, none of my airmen, none of my people were there. It was just like, hey, it was almost like end scene, fucking you crawl out the back and we'll see you around. Like I fucking had relationships with fucking people, dude, like long relationships with people. I wanted that as a fucking as an honorable fucking airman that served his country and put his family on the fucking back burner so I could fucking serve your ass. And this is how you're gonna fucking treat me. And I was like, so I got burned, dude, at the end. So my transition was not the best. So along the lines of getting burned on the way out, it was very, very fast, right? TAPS, transition assistance. It was just like, hey man, like here are all the empty promises. Don't worry, you're gonna be good to go. Throw the ball, you can catch it over there, and we'll see you around. I was like, okay, what? So I get home and I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I'm out. And not only I'm out, but if you get out on a good note, you still have that network. We kind of talked about some of those guys who started businesses and they're successful now because they got out and they had that fucking club. They had that community. They had that tribe, right? Because their tribe was with them on the way out. Well, I was the lone wolf, dude. You know what happens to fucking those wolves, right? When they get kicked out of the fucking band?
Yeah.
Dude, they're fucked, dude. Their fucking percentage of living is like 10%, dude. You're fucking dead.
Yep.
So that's kind of how it was. It was a struggle, man. My whole fucking the next like 5 years was a struggle. Not to mention, I really didn't know much about myself. Like now we know, me. I'm on this journey of self-discovery. Now my life is fucking great, dude. I
Yeah.
love it because
Well,
I
we're going to
love
get
it.
into that for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But
We'll get
back
into
then,
that. But
I didn't
because
know
you
any
were
of that.
ostracized, right? Like you said, you were separated from your tribe. Everybody turned their back on you. I was the same way. I had no ceremony. I didn't. In fact, my award was mailed to me 3 years after I got out. Somebody from the company was like, "Hey, we found this." Like, I was
Oh
told I
my
wasn't even
God,
getting a fucking award because I
that
was a med board, and it's
motherfucker.
like, don't even mail that shit to me. I'm not a fruit salad guy. I don't really care about my accomplishments or whatever.
Fruit salad.
But like 3 years after I'm gone, and to your point, man, it was I went to Waller Hall, which is on Fort Lewis, at 12 o'clock. I stood there. A private handed me the flag little box thing, and my retirement certificate and my DD 214, and that was it. And this is a common story. I just did one of these yesterday with a guy who got out as an Air Force E9, and he had an E1 hand him his retirement certificate and paperwork, and was like, "Motherfucker, I know there's an E8 or an E9 back there that should be standing here, shaking my hand and saying thank you for your service." Yet they send, and I'm not mad at you. You're doing your job, right? Like, you're the E1, you're beginning your career. Where's the motherfucker that runs this place to like, give me some kind of recognition for the years of service that I've given to this organization. And it's fucked up, man. It's so fucked up. And I relate so much to what you're saying. 8 years for me, then find ayahuasca, and then start my journey to self mastery. You fucked around for 5 years, and I can only imagine what that looked like for you. For me, it was a lot of drinking. It was a lot of you said empathizing with suicide. I think I got to the point where it was like, this is becoming a reality for me. Like, I'm thinking about it a lot. I'm visualizing, fucking taking this Harley and running it into a tree at 120, because then all of this ends. It just ends. All of the not feeling like I belong, the nothing ever working out, nothing ever going my way, not being able to leverage these skills that I think are valuable, because I'm doing it in the wrong settings, around the wrong people, where mediocrity is a standard, not something that's shunned. Like, all of those issues we deal with, and nobody teaches us how to kind of make peace with those or navigate those when we get out.
No, you're on your own. Like we talked about, having a coach would be perfect. Man, I would have loved having a fucking coach. It was that just all they had to do is really ask me some simple questions about you. Somebody in your corner. And just like we were talking about off camera, if you don't have somebody in your fucking corner in your life, and then they're actually against you, they're not supporting you, and they're holding you back, dude, you're going to have even worse of a time trying to move forward. It's like, you're like a horse, and they're like on a fucking stagecoach, and they're just like, nah, dog. And they're like, I'm trying to fucking move. And they're like, nah, fuck that. It's tough, dude. You're better off on your own.
So you fuck around for 5 years. When did you start to get into the self-mastery and really decide, hey, I want to move forward? And I really respect you, because you're a lot like me, man. I started everything that I do with this brand and everything else for just one simple reason. I wanted to be the guy I didn't have. Like, and the way that I do that is just to create this content, to do this podcast, and then to put it out, and then talk to other veterans. Just, put out a post on LinkedIn that talks about, these thoughts and feelings that I went through, that I know that you're going through, that you feel that you're alone in, and just get their attention and let them know that, like, hey, I'm a guy that can just listen. Because I find that's really what people need, is to just be heard. They don't really want advice. They're kind of sick of advice, because they're getting advice from 25 different directions that don't align with what their internal narrative is telling them. So what did that look like for you? How did you come across self-mastery and really start to dive in and make yourself the version that we're having this conversation with now?
Death. It starts at the end, man. That started at the end for me. I died, dude. I had a heart attack. I had a massive heart attack. And when I realized that at the end, my life either had to change or it was going to stay the same. It was going to eventually go down that same path and have another, deathly experience, and probably not recover from it. So that was a huge life-changing moment and decision that I had to make. So when I had that heart attack, I thought to myself, it's time to make a change, Rex. It's time to make a fucking big change. You're not respected at work. And I mean that in a way where the place that I was, they were not paying me my worth. I was putting and giving them, like, the type of effort that we give in the military, like you and I, that we just give everything, all the ideas, all new programs, all of our time, all the time, and you're still paying me like fucking minimum wage, like, for real.
Yeah.
That's called disrespect in my book. So I wasn't being respected at work. I wasn't being respected at home, right? My relationship back then was disrespect. It was just negative self-talk, demasculated, or and my fitness was not there. Yeah, I was working out, but that's not my fitness. And if you want, we can go into that too later. And so my fitness was shit. I was drinking, I was smoking all the time, 2 packs a day. And so literally, bro, like that's all the aspects of my life, and they're all shit. And my life was like, my body was like, bro, we're fucking done here. If you want to continue, I'll give you another shot, but you're going to end up right back here again. And I'm probably not going to be here to save you, or these people aren't going to be here to save you. So I made a change, man. I left
I
that
do
whole,
that. I so love your story because for you it was a massive heart attack death, right? For me it was an ayahuasca, 3 ayahuasca ceremonies, but really the first one is really what the catalyst was for all of that. And in a way, it's kind of the same experience. I got an inside window into the direction I was headed. Reminding you, we have all these things in common because my fitness was shit. I went to Peru, 321 pounds. For the record, I weigh 211 pounds right now, right? Like I made some massive changes, and it started with fitness and changing inputs into my body, quit smoking, quit drinking, all of that stuff. Started using cannabis a different way than to escape. And right, so we actually share a lot of the same journey. It just looks a little bit different, but ended up in the same place. And so I think my next question has to be, you made some changes, and I get this question all the time. I don't know if you do, but it's the how did you make changes? What in your mind kind of let you know to make the change? And for me, that's really hard to answer because I came back from Peru and shit just started happening. I can't explain why. I would wake up and strap my shoes on and grab the dogs and start walking longer distances at a ridiculous pace. It just happened. Wasn't conscious of it. I didn't make a plan. I didn't say I'll start tomorrow. I came back and I got to work, and I don't know what compelled me to do that. It just happened. Is that how it worked for you coming out of, the heart attack and recovering? Or did you sit down and actually make a plan and have like a conscious plan? Like, I've got to make these changes. For me, really, it was just, I knew I needed to make some changes, and then shit just started happening.
so for me, it was somewhat in stages, and the stages came in the form of questions. So I knew that I needed to make a change physically with my fitness. I wasn't eating right? I'm eating out all the time, greasy foods, fucking, just nasty shit, smoking, drinking. I said, let's take care of one thing first, Rex. The doctors were saying, you got to stop. You got to stop smoking. So I got to ask myself a question. Anybody can just like stop doing something, right? You're doing it, they just not do it. So, but the question is deeper than that. Once you start asking yourself the question, why are you doing this, right? Start digging down into that rabbit hole for yourself, because once you can find the origin story for why you're doing something, then you can start working on creating new neural pathways. And that's just the way that our brain works, right? We have neural pathways, the path of least resistance. So
Yeah.
I started asking myself the question, like, why are you smoking? Why do you smoke? As soon as I started going down that rabbit hole, I'm like, well, I use it to de-stress. Okay, why are you stressed? When do you go and smoke? Figure that out. What are your stressors out? Oh, every time I'm getting into a fight with my, ex. Okay, huh. There is an origin there. There's a reason why you're smoking, and the smoking is just like a symptom, right? It's just
Yeah.
the effect. You got to find the cause,
Yeah.
right? Just like we were just talking about before this, there is a cause on all these other stressors in your life. And it wasn't just that one individual. There was other things in my life, right? Purpose, right? Where am I going? My future, like what's happening, my past, my childhood trauma, whatever the fuck you're dealing with. You do things for a reason, but I knew by asking myself that question that was one of the reasons. So then I have to ask myself that question: why are you with that person? If they're not supporting you, if they're not helping you move forward, if they're not showing you what love is, if they're not meeting your expectations, if they're not, uh, um, you know, literally there for you, why are you with this person? Why? And then I literally had to ask myself that question: is Why are you with this person? And if you really can't come up with a good fucking reason, then it's time to leave the situation that you're in. So I just decided, just start working on yourself. Like I started working on myself, and that was the first thing that I had to do, was cutting out certain things that are not good for me. So
Yeah.
now these things, anything that goes in, right? It's in versus out. So anything that goes in has to pass the test, has to pass my VIP test. What's the value? What's the importance? And what's the purpose? If they meet all those three requirements for my VIP, then let's fucking do it. I had to ask myself for the smoking. Why? What's the value in this? Is it just de-stressing you? Well, there are other ways you can find to de-stress that aren't adding to getting a heart attack. So
Right.
why don't you work on that, right? Why is it important? It wasn't important. I started doing it when I was younger to fit in. I don't need to fit in. I'm an old man now. I don't need to fucking fit in, right? And what's
In
the
fact,
purpose?
I go out of my way to not fit in.
Right, right.
Right.
Exactly. And now what's the purpose? Oh shit, it doesn't meet any of these fucking things, man. So that was easy for me to create a neural pathway to think, why are you even doing this? So then, but that's the internal. Now the external is trying to find something to replace, something healthy to replace in the meantime, because I have a physical addiction as well. It's
Mhm.
not just mental. There's two separate addictions going on. One is behavioral. I'm doing this because I taught myself to do it over fucking 10 or 15, 20 years. And the second is now my body needs it, craves it. So every time I had a craving, I replaced the craving with something else, like running, walking, eating a snack or something. Because cravings can be minimized if you're just smart about, replacing something with something positive, not replacing it with vaping. I see you're fucking
I
vaping.
look, man, get off my
No,
ass.
I
Like,
won't. I won't
I know
because
you
I
won't.
care about you. People that say, "Fine, go do what you want," I don't give a fuck about you. Go kill yourself. No, I
Yeah.
care about you.
Yeah.
Because I did that. I did the same fucking thing. I went from smoking to vaping. I said, you know what? It's different. It's got zero nicotine.
It's
Until
not
I
different. It's
started,
so bad for you.
I started. That was the same mindset I had from before. I said, Rex, because this is a constant thing. You have to continue checking yourself, man. It's like, stop lying to yourself, man. You're doing this because you want to. You didn't fact check yourself. So I went out and fact checked myself. I found some legitimate research that found that fucking vaping, even zero nicotine, has the same effect as smoking fucking like a pack a day. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I am not helping myself here. I'm still killing myself. So I fucking trashed that and I stopped doing that also. So these are just some of the things. You just got to ask yourself these questions. Is this good for me? Is it valuable? Is it important? Does it meet my purpose? If not, you may be fulfilling someone else's purpose and
I,
you have to take care of you. And that's where I got into the self mastery thing. It's like I have to start mastering myself, because if not, I'm just going to keep repeating the same shit over and over again when it comes to work, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to my own health. If you don't know what you want and what direction, you don't have a vision for yourself and what you want for yourself professionally, like spiritually, um, physically, then you're not going to fucking go anywhere, dude. It's like
man,
getting in a car and just like, I don't know where I'm going.
this is such a great conversation because this is the how, right? Like everybody's always I preach about identity, purpose, community. This is the three big things that trip us up in transition. And the big thing is how do you come up with who you are as a person, and this is perfect because it requires that you ask those. For you it's three questions, for me it's one question: how does this serve me? And I think it accomplishes the same thing because it just allows me to follow the habit or the behavior back to the point of origin and really make sense of it. So along those same lines, man, I know you're dogging me for the vaping thing. Like, I know I need to quit that. I know that it's not good for me. However, I've made so many changes in my life that it's one thing at a time for me. And this is one of the last remaining things that I have to let go of. And so I'm comfortable with where I'm at with it right now because I've made so many other changes that were even more, I think, detrimental to me. And so it's my own process, right? Like I'll get rid of it very soon, actually. Like I've got a whole plan for that. And this is kind of the last remaining thing that's really hard for me to get away from. That's another reason that they're so bad for you, is because it's way too much fucking nicotine. You don't need that much. And so then you become even more addicted, and then you spend more money. And well, we all know how that works. But you can't change everything all at once, man. It's a gradual process, right? I think you would agree to that. You can't go and change the way you eat, the way you exercise, the what you're in, the bad habits, the smoking, all of that. Like, quit all of those things individually, or whatever works for you. And so I love this conversation, man, because just ask yourself these questions and really follow it back. Why am I doing this? Like, what am I getting out of this? And if you
Most people will not fucking, either they don't want to know, because
yeah,
I've met people in my life who are like, dude, I just don't want to know, right? They don't want to know. They don't want to fucking see was the Wizard of Oz in the back working the fucking machine. They don't want to see that shit. They don't
no,
want to know how the fucking sausage is made. Of course not, because you're lying to yourself. You don't. You want to move forward. You want to do this, but you don't want to see the truth. And because the truth sometimes sucks, dude. I had the same thing with the food, with nutrition, the smoking, and all that shit. I stopped smoking. I stopped drinking. That was first. Then was the food part. But I started making, and I know you're. I don't care. I started making excuses, just like you're making excuses for myself. I was like, oh, I'm already quitting the drinking and the smoking, so the next thing will come later when I'm ready. And I saw myself making excuses. I'm like, Rex,
yeah,
fucking do it. Like, do you care? Because then the second part of that was like, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, dude, you're a fat fuck. Like, okay, I gained a lot of weight too because I stopped smoking. Because people say, oh, it's an appetite suppressant. Okay, no, I just don't have any self control. That's another thing I have to master. I have to master myself. I have to be able to gain some fucking control of my life, man. Get some control of your decisions, man. Stop fucking feeding your fucking face with food. Just stop it.
that
So
was the big one for me, was the food, and
it's tough, dude,
completely changing everything about how
because
I
food is
eat.
good, dude.
Oh man, and it's a battle for sure. Yeah, food was next to this nicotine thing. Nicotine's such a hard thing for me. I've quit multiple times for long periods of time and still end up back at it. I know I need to explore more of why that is. Uh, there's a big part of me that genuinely is just like, and it is an excuse, you're right, but it's like, everything in moderation, to include moderation. Like, everybody has a vice that they, whether they want to admit it or not, most people have a vice that, is a habit that they hold on to. This is mine, for whatever reason. I don't know. I can't figure it out. Uh,
Well, I can
Part of it is
look.
I just don't want it bad enough either.
Excuse me.
Like, I know that I have the ability to quit something, and it's just done because I've done it several times. I also just don't want it bad enough right now, and that's on me.
So listen, I can say so much about this. I can definitely talk your ear over it, but I won't promise you, but I can make a pretty damn good assumption that if I didn't have my heart attack, I'd still be smoking.
yeah. I
You know
mean,
what
I
I
think
mean?
that's fair.
So
Yeah,
for you, and for everyone that's in your same situation, like I want to quit, but I can't. I get it. I wouldn't. I still would be. It wasn't because I was scared because I fucking died. Most people don't, they're going to continue doing shit until they fucking die, right? Because you always got to ask yourself that question. There's even coins and shit. Oh, but did you die? Yeah, motherfucker, I did die. And I don't want to experience that shit again. It's scary. There's even some PTSD that comes from dying itself. When we talk about heart attacks, my mind goes back there to that same point and that same point in time. Every time something comes up with about a heart attack, I remember that moment, and it was just impending doom. Like my body, my mind knew that this was it, and I was just like, dude, I don't want to go back there. It sucks, dude. So that's why I made that choice. But I hope that I would love to try and reach guys and girls, whoever like you, to where like you don't have to wait till that moment, man.
yeah.
Please, like fucking. I saw this young girl the other day on the street, like waiting for the bus, and she was smoking. She was young, and I'm like, please, girl, just stop now. It's so much easier to stop now when you're that age than when you're older. Like, unless you have a revelation like me and you're dying and shit, like, it's gonna be so fucking near impossible to stop.
I think about that all the time because the 4 months I was at basic training, I quit smoking. And the worst mistake I ever made was that first cigarette after graduation. If I'd have never picked that fucking cigarette up, I wouldn't have the habit today.
It's a tough
I
one.
think about it all the time, man. It's like, because it does, it gets harder and harder and harder every time to quit it. And it's a whole lot to unpack, but so now you're a self-mastery coach. This is what you've chosen to do with your life, is to help folks like you and I, where we were before, get to where we are now. What does that do for you? Why did you choose to do that?
Well, like like I kind of touched on earlier, if I know that we have a lot of differences as humans, but we have so many more similarities, man. We have so much more in common than we have not in common as humans. And one of the underlining like commonalities that we have, or we don't know ourselves, you know, and we have also nowadays we have so many influences out there, like our phones, our TVs, our radios, the internet, whatever the fuck, our friends, our families, and all that. All those influences, if you don't have if you don't have yourself mastered down to where you know exactly who you are, you know exactly what you believe in, you know what your fucking like your hard stops are, right? You know where you are spiritually, where you are physically, like what you're going to allow in and out. If you know all this stuff, and this is concrete, like the fucking 10 Commandments that are just ingrained in you, nothing is going to change you. Right now, most people don't know shit about what they want, what they like, where they're going, whatever the fuck. And guess what? They're easily pulled in this direction, and that direction, and this direction. And then you get into a relationship. Fuck that, dude. You're no longer you at all. You've just got pulled into, you don't, dude. It goes along with the law of either Newton or whoever the fuck said it, but you've got to leave something behind if you want to go somewhere. And when you get into a relationship, you definitely lose a part of yourself. And then when you get out of that relationship, guess what? You're a fucking empty shell. You're like, I don't remember who the fuck, I don't remember how I like my eggs. Yeah, I don't even remember what I like because I was so part of this other like cell.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm on my own. But if you know this going into the relationship, then you know who you are, what kind of person that you want to be with, how you want this person to fucking treat you. What are your non-negotiables? If you have non-negotiables, then you know that going into a relationship, you'll see the fucking signs, and then you'll say straight up, you'll be like, hey, I'm not going to fucking deal with that early on. And if you know that about yourself, and if you can confidently, because confidence comes from something that you know, and you have solid evidence, you have solid like a belief system, and you're like, I'm not going to deal with that kind of behavior. You can either change, or we can call it quits right now. Then you can start fucking checking those boxes off to where it's not like, oh, I'm just falling in love, just whatever the fuck, let's just get married. Instead of that bullshit, you can be like, still in love, but I also have my rules of engagement. And the more confident you are with the mastery of who you are, once you know who you are, you know what you want, you know what you need in your life.
Life becomes so much better.
It does.
It's night and day difference, right?
Absolutely.
I like the signal to noise, right? Like I'm big into entrepreneurship, just like you. And I forget who it was. I was just watching a podcast about this the other day, but all these ultra successful billionaires, they have this incredible signal to noise ratio where they're always just receiving signal and just tuning out noise. And I think that's really what you're talking about, is like, because they know who they are, what their boundaries are, hard stops, what they're willing to let affect them versus what they're not, is why they climb to the top of this fucking mountain, is they can regulate the amount of signal to noise that they're getting in their life. And I think that's such a great analogy, because you just touched on it. Everything is noise. Everything in our lives is noise. We are creating noise for people right now. That's what we're doing. We're creating this noise for people right now. It's just hopefully they I like to think that we're creating signal for people because we're talking about like ways to better yourself. But to other people, it's just going to be noise. They're going to listen to this conversation and they're going to be like, these two dudes are full of shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You can't change me. And I would argue that that's somebody who really needs to be listening to this conversation.
Yeah, I get that a lot, dude. When people come to my channel, they're like, "Oh," I say, first of all, you're not listening to my content. You're just seeing it, and then you're making assumptions and you're making these connections that don't exist. If you listen, just listen to the content that we're talking about right now. No one's trying to fucking change you, bro. I want you to know who the fuck you are so you can change yourself so you can make your life better.
Yeah.
And that who you are will never affect me.
I'm
But
in the middle of let them theory with Mel Robbins right now. It's phenomenal, and she actually talks about that in the book. It's the overarching theme of that book is realizing that you cannot change other people. I'm not here to change anybody. I'm just here to be an example of what I did to change myself, so that maybe you can take some of those same steps to change yourself. Because I promise you, when you start implementing the things that we're talking about today, regardless of the vices that I still have, and I'm sure you still have some things that you need to work on because we're never going to be perfect, life gets so much better, man. So much better.
I can say that it gets a little easier. At least the decision making part of it, it becomes much easier. Especially with, like I was telling you from before when we met about defining your fitness.
Yeah.
Decisions like that become so much easier when you start making the decision to say, I don't do this. Kind of like we talked about smoking. I'm
Yeah.
not a smoker. I
Yeah.
don't smoke. So anyone ever in the future that says, hey man, you want to let it?
I'm not
That's
a
easy.
smoker.
I'm not a smoker.
Yeah.
Just like if you offer me crack, cocaine, or fucking anything, I don't fucking do drugs, dude. Like, thank you, but no thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
So it's the same when it comes to like food choices now. It's like, oh, hey man, you want to go get a fucking burger? I'm like, nah, I don't really eat that shit. But you know what? Hey, hang out here, man. I'll make you something fucking real good, and it's gonna be healthy for you, and you're gonna know exactly what's going in that bitch.
Do you
So
ever? Do you ever allow yourself to do anything like that?
what?
Get a burger.
Yeah, I splurge sometimes.
Yeah.
I actually, I just did a couple of days ago. Yeah, I just had some ice cream. I fucking
So I did the same thing. I went over
I
to Orlando to meet a buddy, and he bought us burgers for dinner, and I was like, I don't really eat this shit anymore, man. And I was like, I remembered yesterday why I don't eat shit like that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a look, so I am no fucking perfect guy, okay? I have, like you said, vices too, and it's a constant battle for certain things. Like I know I have a sweet tooth, but so I have to regulate that shit. So I know that if I met my goal this week, right? And it's not like I met my goal, I'm going to do it. I don't want to create a habit that way. It's just, oh, have I met my goals this week? Did I work out, here and there and do that, do this and do this? And then, oh, I'm having a craving. Okay, I'll treat myself. I'll have some ice cream. I'll buy like a little thing of it, fucking snarf it down. I'll either be like, oh, yeah, that was great. Or, oh, God, but I don't want to do that anymore. So it
Right.
just kind of either, it helps. But I also don't want to live by the book,
Right.
because when you live that way, you almost tell yourself you're almost like rebelling against yourself, right? So I don't want to rebel. I just want to make good habits in
Yeah.
my life. So yeah, to answer your question, I do allow myself to color outside the line sometimes, but I will not make it a habit. What I would do is I won't bring it into the house. I won't bring it into my place. Like I won't go out and buy like a gallon of ice cream and then here, because then that's like fucking 10 times I can eat that bitch one time,
Yep.
and then it
Yep.
doesn't come in
Yep.
the
Yep.
house, right?
I'm the
Because if
same.
it's out
Food
of
was
sight,
my
out of
big
mind.
thing. So food, man, if you came to my house and looked in my pantry, you'd be like, man, this is sad. This is a sad existence. But it's that way for a reason, because if it's here, fuck, all self control is out the window. Like I'm gone.
Yeah,
I'm in the pantry eating the shit I shouldn't be eating and all
yeah,
that stuff.
of
And it's
course.
like, I just, man, so many good things, dude. We're coming up to the end of our time, and I really want people to flock to you, man. I love what you're doing with self mastery and your coaching business, and I love all your philosophies around coaching, particularly the episode you did with another awesome veteran, Aaron, and the stuff that came out of that episode about how you guys both actually look at coaching, and talk about, like, most coaches out there aren't coaches. And we had this conversation when I came on your show, and I want my audience to hear your philosophy on that too. There's so many people advertising themselves as coaches out there. Why aren't they actually coaches?
So there's things that I've learned in like going through training, going through professional training in school, through a master's program, and then there's things that I've learned in my life, right? So I was coaching at my last job. I wasn't like a certified coach, but there's a lot of these entities that they certify you in their style of coaching. Okay, so it's just like being a football coach or a soccer coach, right? You don't have to be certified, right? Like, if you're a fucking dad, you got a kid, you can put them in there like, hey, you know how to play? Yeah, okay, you could be a coach. You could be a coach. That doesn't even necessarily mean that you're going to be bad, right? You have to have some other things, some other qualities that help you communicate with the kids, to help them, work together, enjoy what they're doing, and do some making sure that they're motivated or disciplined and they train and, enjoying the game. It's the same thing with coaching. So there's a lot of entities that are like, if you don't have this certification, you're not a coach. Okay. And then there's people that they don't own the word coaching. Okay, coaching is a very simple fucking word if you look it up. It's just you want to help someone with progress. You want to help someone attain a goal. You want to help someone achieve something, learn something. This is coaching. And if you're there for someone, that's coaching. What's not coaching is if I just say you're a fat piece of shit and you just need to work out. That's not coaching. That's just giving advice, right? And that can not even be called like motivating. That's actually demotivating, telling someone that, hey, you just got to do it. Shut up and do it. That's not what? Everyone fucking knows that you just have to do it. That's not the problem. Doing it is not the problem. The self-control is the problem. And like, I don't want to, right? The discipline, maybe the motivating, that people need to be motivated. They need to be inspired and they need to make goals. So that's what a coach does. If a coach is there to help you attain those goals through, making out little micro goals, celebrating micro wins and helping you along the way, being real, being fucking transparent with you, not like, oh, dude, yeah, you're doing fine. No. How about you need to do this? You need to work together with the client to create a goal and to challenge that client to say, hey, remember you said you wanted to work on this? You're not doing it. It's time to fucking do it, right? That's what you wanted. You told me that's what you wanted, so I'm helping you get that goal. Not just to be here, be your fucking friend and tell you what you want to hear. That's a
Well,
friend.
I would also argue too that a big part of your role, and I think you probably do this, but it's exploring what is that self belief that's holding you back from actually taking that action to lose that weight, for example, right? Like, just because you and I just talked about, like, asking ourselves those questions and exploring, does this serve me, or, does it pass your 3 tests, or whatever, doesn't mean that people can listen to this conversation and are automatically going to be able to do that for themselves. And so, like, I feel like your role is to even dive down that rabbit hole with them. Like, okay, you're a fat piece of shit, and the prescription to remedy that is to work out, but you're just not doing it. Why are you not doing it? Let me help you work through why you're not doing that. Right? Like,
Right.
what's
Yeah.
that barrier? And I think too often, and kind of where I was trying to get you to go, and I know you probably won't outright say it, is too many coaches just want to give you their blueprint for how to get to where you want to go, instead of helping you discover what it is about yourself that will get you to where you want to go. And I think that's the fundamental difference. And what I like about what you're doing is you're going to help them unveil their own plan to get to where they want to go. You're not going to give them your recipe for how you got to where you're at.
So that's a good, I know there's 1 minute, but that is a very, very, very good point you made, because I'm somewhat on the fence on this. I have heard from other coaches, including, some people that I respect, some people that I don't respect, but it doesn't matter. This is the thing. What works for one person isn't going to work for the other. I can't sit here, and sometimes it doesn't work when I sit here and try and help you explore your life. What do you
Right.
want? What do you want for your life? We all fucking know what we want. But you also need somebody to say, hey, get off your ass and do it. You said you wanted to do it. Let's do it. Dude, what you want is not hard to do. Getting off your ass is the hard part. Doing it, overcoming the fear, that's the hard part. And sometimes you do need someone to come in there and say, hey, it's time to fucking go, dude. Let's go. Send it. Let's go. Because if you don't have that, if we're just going to talk about our feelings all day, a lot of people don't. They want to sit in their feelings and emotions and feelings. Those things come and go.
Right.
Discipline, direction, that's something solid that you can hold on to that won't change. Finding out who you are, mastering that. If you master who you are, find out where you want to be in your life. That's a solid thing. It's like, I want that. I'm going to go get that. Anyways.
I love it, man. Dude, tell everybody how they can find you, connect with you, hire you as their coach if they like what they hear here today.
So I am everywhere on the social media platforms as Bad Coach Rex. And I think you probably know why. It's Bad Coach Rex now, because I tell you how it is, man. I'm transparent and I'm honest. I'm in your face and I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to fucking tell you what you want to hear. If you want results, you want Bad Coach Rex. That's all I got to say.
Brother, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. I'm very grateful to know you and to be building a relationship with you. And I can't thank you enough for all the wisdom you've dropped on us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rex Enriquez. Take care, everybody. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, download. Help this get in front of everybody who needs to hear it. And we will see you guys next week with another banger of an episode. Take care. That's our show, and I'm truly thankful you've joined us at The Strategic Veteran. If our conversation today sparked curiosity or if you're ready to elevate your game, I'm here to help. Visit thestrategicveteran.com for exclusive show notes and resources, or to book a coaching session directly with me. Take a moment to subscribe to our podcast and share your review. Your support makes all the difference. For more insights and daily strategies, let's connect on LinkedIn and keep the conversation going. Remember, this isn't just a podcast, it's your strategic advantage in action. Until our next rendezvous, stay bold and continue the mission.